Welcome to the Injury Prone Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Edwin Porras, Physical Therapy, Medical Analyst, FantasyPoints.com. Man, did you miss that intro? Flying solo this time. No more George, as we talked about, but I want to get right into it. But first, there's been a lot of chatter, a lot of injuries already into training camp as we anticipated. If you want more actionable information, if you want updates sent straight to your inbox, make sure you buy the Injury Prone Draft Guide. It is $20. I know money's tight, but I think you can swing $20 if you're listening to this podcast. I know that you're going to enjoy it. I know you're going to enjoy the book that Jorge and I put together. It's got injury profiles on every major guy. It's got all of the draft strategies that you're going to want, handcuff running backs, all the stuff you're going to want to know from an injury perspective. The link is in the show notes. Also, we're proud partners with Underdog Fantasy. So this is the best time to be drafting a best ball team. I just texted another team to Graham Barfield for him to analyze. He said that it looked like a sharp team. It's super fun. For every dollar you match up to $250 that you deposit, Underdog will match that. So up to $250 free deposit, or $500 to play. Sounds like a good deal to me. Use code INJURYPRONE and get in the best ball barrio. Listen, there's been a lot going on. I'm going to try to get through this extremely quickly because I have clients to see. I have real athletes that are going to come here and see me. So let's get through it. Christian McCaffrey, strained calf, right? On August 6th, Kyle Shanahan came out, said that, he's going to miss a couple of weeks. And that makes sense to me. So if you look at all the data, generally speaking, 93% of players do end up coming back from these calf injuries without any problems. This is a recurrent issue for Christian McCaffrey. He did sit out week 18, the first time that he suffered this calf injury last season. But I still don't think that it's going to be a very big deal. If you look at the data since 2018, you'll see that NFL running backs specifically, they don't injure their calf a ton. And when they do, there have only been 25 instances since 2018. Only 8% or 2 of the 25 had a re-injury in that same calendar year. So the average amount of missed time is about 2.1 games. Makes sense with about the 2 weeks. Is there a risk to Christian McCaffrey? A little bit. If you're splitting hairs, would you rather go CeeDee Lamb? Probably. I'm still going to take Christian McCaffrey. He's not dropping in tiers or anything ridiculous like that. I think when we get to week 4, 5, 6, we're going to look back and you're going to remember how ridiculous it was to fade Christian McCaffrey for a calf injury that is not very common and has a very, very good data backing it. So don't fade Christian McCaffrey. So Justin Herbert, plantar fascia, diagnosed, right? Plantar fascia injury is what they called it. Over the last, several years, there haven't been a ton of plantar fascia injuries in general. Tony Pollard is really the best bet that you have or the best comparison. And that doesn't even really make sense because Tony Pollard is obviously a running back. So for Justin Herbert, what this means is that, they're going to put him in a boot. That means that they thought it was significant enough that there might have been some actual structural issues with it. So they're going to put him in the boot. Then they're going to slowly bring him back, get him on a running program, return to running program. But he's probably not going to rush very much at all, especially the first month of the season or so. This can linger. He can re-injure it. That's probably not going to be something that necessarily happens. But what you can see happen with Justin Herbert, like I said, he's going to lose some mobility. He was already a guy that we were fading given the circumstances of the situation. That passing offense just isn't going to be up to par for fantasy standards. I wouldn't necessarily take Justin Herbert, not because he's necessarily at risk to get re-injured or anything like that. I just don't see the upside. Puka Nacua, thank you for not tagging me in any more posts that have to do with sacks. That went on way too long. You ruined my algorithm. I kid, but nonetheless, on August 4th, they had a joint session the Rams did with the Chargers. McVay confirmed that it was a burst sack burst, apparently. I don't really know if it really bursts or if it's just like an injury, but essentially that's just a contact injury. So he fell on the knee, landed on it hard, now it's inflamed. It's really just a matter of reducing the swelling, reducing the stiffness, getting him out of pain. He should be ready to play by week 1. I wouldn't necessarily worry. This is a very general injury. There probably are some specific statistics on it, but what you need to know from, a wide receiver knee, and this is, again, in the draft guide, go get the draft guide. From that perspective, wide receivers in season, since 2018, they only miss 1.2 games, right? 65% miss 0 games. 11% miss 1 game, right? So Puka Nacua's got all month to get right, but this is your last chance before the Cooper Kupp train leaves the station. So next guy we're going to get to here, DeAndre Hopkins, right? He's got a strained knee, which happened on August 2nd. It was weird and eerie. They said that he didn't need surgery, and the prognosis here is 4 to 6 weeks. It's really tough to know exactly what's going on with him, but we do know that he had this weird tape job that looked like it could have been, some sort of PCL or LCL issue. Sorry. And so the best comparison that we have, the best comp we have for DeAndre Hopkins in particular is Darren Waller from 2021. And if I pull it up here, I can tell you exactly how much time Darren Waller missed, but my goodness, there have already been so many injuries that I already lost track of when this happened. And here it is. DeAndre Hopkins, like I said, could be an LCL. Best comp, Darren Waller in 2021. He missed about 4 games. His teammate actually in 2023, Traylon Burks, he missed about 3 weeks of camp. So really we're probably looking at like that 3 to 4 week window for Hopkins. That's going to really put him at risk for week 1 of the NFL season, but I wouldn't necessarily anticipate he misses more than that. He's a little older. It's going to take him a little longer to heal, get back on his feet. Might take him a little bit to get back to full health. So I'm fine if he's like your wide receiver 4. It's not a big deal. His upside probably is capped at this point. So I don't know how much DeAndre Hopkins I'm really going to take unless he falls to me. He's my wide receiver 5 or something like that. Last thing we had here on Xavier Legette, he had, an MRI confirmed that he didn't have a fracture, which is good, but that means he probably sprained his foot. And when we look at wide receiver high ankle, not high ankle, but we look at ankle and foot injuries for wide receivers in particular, we see that, as I pull it up here, again, I'm looking at the injury prone draft guide. It's going to be in the show notes. If you want to spend $20 to become a much better fantasy football player, you can do that. But typically, wide receivers, 79% of them miss 0 games in season. 8% miss 1 game. The mean amount of missed time for these injuries is 0.7 games, so not even 1 game. When they come back, right, their point differential is 78% of their average, but he's going to have plenty of time to bounce back. Xavier Legette is. If anything, you worry a little bit about him getting on the same page with Patrick Mahomes before the season begins. Last couple notes here. So Josh Downs suffered a high ankle sprain, and I tweeted about this before. I tweeted at FB Injury Doc if you want to go look at it. So again, coming from the injury prone draft guide here, is there risk with Josh Downs? Yes, of course. What you need to know is that 80% of high ankle sprains, they resolve within 4 weeks. Only 20% of them actually extend beyond the 6-week mark. I wouldn't anticipate Josh Downs is going to miss a ton of time. He will miss week 1 at most. And a lot of people have been asking me, he's off my board? Should I, should I worry, blah, blah, blah. 94% of baseline production in their second week back for NFL wide receivers after an high ankle sprain. Let me say that again. In their second week back from a high ankle sprain, NFL wide receivers production is 94% of baseline. The high ankle sprain is not always a death sentence. I think that's it. And that's it for me. So make sure you follow the YouTube, subscribe, okay, to the YouTube, the podcast. We're going to be doing this, all summer, all camp leading up to the NFL season. If you have already bought the draft guide, I appreciate you. You're gonna get these updates directly to your inbox here in the next couple of days, and I'll continue to pump those updates once you buy the injury prone draft guide. And if you don't buy the injury prone draft guide, reevaluate your life, because I think it's gonna make you a better player. Don't forget, use the promo code injuryprone at Best Ball to get up to $250 matched. That's it. Gracias por tus oídos.